This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Russian gas supply to Europe via the Nord Stream 1 pipeline fell further on Thursday, and Moscow said more delays in repairs could lead to suspending all flows, putting a brake Europe's race to refill its gas inventories. Faltering flows come as the leaders of Germany, Italy and France visit Ukraine, which is pressing for swifter weapons deliveries to battle invading Russian forces and wants support for Kyiv's bid to join the European Union. Russia's state-controlled Gazprom said on Thursday it was reducing supply for a second time in as many days via Nord Stream 1, which runs under the Baltic to Germany. The latest move cuts supply to just 40% of the pipeline's capacity.
Oil prices erased early gains to fall to two-week lows on Thursday on the back of inflation concerns highlighted by interest rate hikes in the United States, Britain and Switzerland, though tight oil supply limited losses. Brent crude futures were down $1.37, or 1.2%, to $117.14 a barrel by 11:10 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate (WTI) crude futures fell $1.29 to $114.02, off 1.1%. Prices slipped more than 2% overnight after the Federal Reserve raised its key interest rate by 0.75%, the biggest hike since 1994. On Thursday morning, European stocks tumbled after a surprise rate hike from Swiss National Bank. This was followed by a rate hike by the Bank of England.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Russian Deputy Prime Minister Viktoria Abramchenko said on Thursday that Russia will have to delay implementation of some climate-related projects due to restrictions on supplies of foreign equipment, but will stay in the Paris Climate Accord. Abramchenko told Reuters that Russia plans to harvest around 130 million tons of grain in 2023, on par with current year, while the government has no plans to change grain export duty. Abramchenko said that the government does not plan to alter grain exports tax formula.
U.S. President Joe Biden, under pressure over sky-high gasoline prices, on Wednesday demanded oil refining companies explain why they are not putting more fuel on the market as they reap windfall profits. Biden wrote to executives from Marathon Petroleum Corp., Valero Energy Corp. And ExxonMobil Corp., and complained they had cut back on oil refining to pad profits, according to a copy of the letter seen by Reuters. The letter was also sent to Phillips 66, Chevron Corp., BP and Shell, a White House official, who declined to be identified, told Reuters. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Industrial metal prices fell on Thursday after the U.S. Federal Reserve hiked interest rates, and weak economic data from top consumer China highlighted the deteriorating outlook for demand. Benchmark copper on the London Metal Exchange traded down 1.4% at $9,100 a ton in official rings, while 3-month aluminium fell 2.6% to $2,524. Metals demand is at risk as accelerated monetary policy tightening led by developed economies threatens to hamstring economic growth and trigger a possible recession, said Tom Mulqueen, analyst at Amalgamated Metal Trading.
Russia, supported by Belarus, Central African Republic, Kyrgyzstan and Mali, has torpedoed a Western-backed proposal to discuss whether its diamonds are funding war ahead of an international conflict diamond meeting in Botswana, letters seen by Reuters show. The rift in the Kimberley Process, KP, which certifies rough diamond exports, risks paralyzing the body which makes decisions by consensus. The letters, which have not been previously reported, show a dispute over a proposal by Ukraine, the European Union, Australia, Britain, Canada, and the United States to discuss Russia's invasion of Ukraine and whether to broaden the KP's definition of conflict diamonds to include state actors at its June 20-24 meeting in Botswana.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Egypt's imports of Russian wheat rose 84% in March to May from the same period last year, freight data showed, even though traders said there were some complications around payment and shipping. Egypt, one of the world's top wheat importers, has become heavily reliant on Russian and Ukrainian grain in recent years. Egypt's imports of wheat, some for state-subsidized bread, were put in doubt by Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24. In March to May this year, as imports from Ukraine ground to a halt, Egypt imported 1,056,290 tons of wheat from Russia, compared to 573,213 tons over the same 3 months in 2021, the freight data showed.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.